everybody. Welcome to an episode of the Board Boys Podcast YouTube edition. This is your Board Boy Rob.
Boardboy Beau.
And today we are here talking about Amoebunnies from Ron Cauldron. And it will be on Kickstarter very soon.
It was my favorite game. Probably my game of the con. Speaking of game of the con, we're going to talk about how we found this game.
Yeah, BGG Con spring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and then the people over at Ron Cauldron were nice enough to give us this copy to check out. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's in the box. All right. Nice colorful cover here.
Yep, that's
You love all these little dudes, don't you?
Yeah, that's pretty much what drew us in.
Yeah. It's got a nice rule book. The rules are fairly short. The Amoebunnies is a asymmetrical game. So when you look at this game, you might think, oh, this is a cute little teeny kids game, but this game definitely has some more to it than that, right?
Mm-hmm, definitely.
It has multiple characters here. We've got Violet, we've got Midori, we've got Sunil, Sari, and we've got Roy. So those are the characters you can play out of the box. Also in this box, you will get some double-sided cards that you can play.
Not double-sided.
Well, a lot of them are double-sided. Some have the drop symbol on them. Some of them have the same symbol on both sides.
Yeah.
And that'll make sense here in a little bit, but that's basically how you move and activate and do different actions in the game. There's also this location deck. This location deck does the same thing, only this one, basically there's a spot on the board for every zone in the game and then every spot within that zone.
That pretty much helps place the things.
Yep. Then you're going to have character pieces. So there's all your stuff for Cam. There's all your stuff for Midori, Violet, Sunil. Sorry, and then the little promo guy, right?
Yeah.
There's also little how to play cards here, and it's basically how to set up and do all of the different things you do for the different characters. There's also like a complexity level you can see there for how difficult the characters are to play. And then you've got little player boards for some of the characters as well.
And then there's just the basic. Then there's just like the basic cards, which are. Oh, there's more of those.
Yeah, we got more of these guys. Right? Oops, Sunil's upside down there.
Midori.
Mm-hmm. And then let's see this board. They had just redone the board.
I'll hold it.
Go ahead.
One of my favorite things about it is that if you look really closely, the carrots look like bunnies.
Yeah, the little carrots here.
Mm-hmm.
Little bunnies. So yeah, and then you also have the jelly tokens, and that's what some of those cards do. So basically to set the game up, all you do is you put the board out, you select your characters.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's going to get to draw 3 of these cards.
Yep.
The different characters will set up all differently. And then everyone also has a quick reference. So basically the whole game, as far as how to play the basics, are right here on this little reference card. You set the game up in the middle of the table, shuffle the color and location decks, which I showed you, place the jellies in a pool for everyone, and then you do all your setup on your individual sheet. Some general things. You can only do actions on your turn, but you can do as many actions as you can afford or do during your turn. There's no limit to the number of cards you've got, and there's no limit to the amount of jellies you can have. What jellies generally do are you can use them to just basically move for free, and that doesn't count towards your movement for the turn. Or you can spend them as any color of a card if you don't have a certain color of a card in your hand. So they're kind of wild. They're fairly powerful. If you have cards that have 3 of the same color on it, so for instance, if you had, let's See if we can get one more yellow one. These 3 cards right here, you could turn those in for a jelly. Or if you had that green card and then this green card, since there's 3 greens there, that would also turn in for a jelly as well, right? At the end of your turn, you draw a card. And that's your whole turn. On the back of this card, it shows you the little different tokens and interactions you can have amongst the other players. Like, and there's a lot of, I'm going to put my token out, and then if you cross this, you have to owe me a card, or to get rid of this blocking thing, you got to give me a card. Or Sunil, you can give people cards. So there's a lot of ways for you to interact with the other players. And this plays between 2 and 6 players, which is fantastic. And every game plays in about like half an hour, like on the high side, I'd say. And it's just a race to whoever can complete their objective first.
I'd like to explain the objectives. Cam, so the story is that he was a big blob, but when he fell from the sky, when he fell from the sky, he's bigger than all the other ones, but he splattered into a ton of little cams, and the goal of that is your goal is to merge all the cams together.
Okay.
Violet, she wants to learn about the different colors, so her goal is to basically go to her color token a lot that swaps where it is and research, sometimes flipping these over, but always turning the little knob that goes right there. Then Midori, goal is to get all 3 rainbows. I'm not really sure what else she does.
Yeah, I've played Midori a few times. She seems pretty tough. You use cards to move, and then when you move along the certain things, you get to flip the tokens over, and then when you get all of them, you flip them back over, and you get to flip over your rainbow, and you have to flip over 3 rainbows to win. I have yet to win as Midori. It is my goal to do so.
Roy, basically, he goes around, and there's these tokens that he flips over, and then some give him abilities, and some give him, like, these tokens that you have to bring to the different animals, and I think once you deliver all the animals their tokens, you win.
Yep, and he likes to also then get those tokens and abilities, so he can get some extra abilities as he does things.
So, sorry, she wants to place presents everywhere. I'm pretty sure you can pick up those presents, like as other players, but when she gets to these, she gives herself a present.
Uh-huh.
Sunil, he's a painter, so he wants to fill out his color palette with colors, which is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and he uses these extra little movie tokens to kind of move around the board better.
Yeah.
And he can paint other people's cards if they give him a card. He's one of the more complex characters, and he does really well, especially if people pay him to paint, right?
Yeah, and then there's the special Kickstarter, which I played. Her goal is to charge up her Firefly. Every time she charges it one notch, then you draw a location card, and whatever is the nearest one of those colors, you go to that part, and then you have to charge up. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this one's just like running around, rubbing, and trying to get a lot of static electricity, and then juice up her bug.
Yeah.
Right? All right, well, that is Amoebunnies by Ron Cauldron. We've had a lot of fun with this one. The complexity in the game is really just on how to play the character. You get up and, everyone can do their setup and kind of learn about their character at the same time. Even if you've never played this game before, I think you can learn your own little rule set. It's not quite as complicated, nearly as complicated, I think, as a game like Root that also has asymmetrical player powers where everyone's playing the game completely different. A lot of it, we are taking some of the same types of actions. We just have all our own different goals, right?
Yeah, and we move differently and take our actions differently.
Yeah, I would say that was one of the things that kind of confused me because you really got to read all the characters, and for some reason at the beginning I always thought you had to play cards to move.
No matter what, but that was only with his character.
But that's just because I played Midori so many times, and that's what they do. Everyone else, like Violet, gets to roll a die and see how much they can move.
Cam, depending on how big he is, he gets to move farther.
Yeah.
Then I'm pretty sure there's also one that can just. Jen can just move 2. Like she just moves 2.
Yep, and then they all have special abilities. So if you go ahead and look at like Midori's, here Midori will tell you these are my actions that I can do here. Also on the back, hey, here's my little story, which is fun to read. He loves all the stories. They also have a complexity rating here and their objectives. So that's kind of everything they want to do. So traverse a path of every color to fill a rainbow token. To travel to the rainbows to collect them. Collect all 3 rainbows.
I love the little backstories.
Yeah, and then it talks about the movement on the back. Then on the inside, there's just a little more in-depth stuff. So you have your objective, movement, how you move in the middle, and then your special abilities over here on this side. And it just explains those. So everyone might have a special token. Midori can refresh, which means if she's just trying to spend cards to draw more color cards, or if they can fly and spend a jelly to move anywhere on the board, or they can give a card from their hand to another player. Instead of giving it from their hand, they'll take it from the top of the deck. Like, I think some characters will take cards from you while they don't. They can make sure it comes from the deck instead. Yeah. And then they have an ability called Overgrowth, where they put these little green tokens on the board right here. You can see there's Midori's token. The little green tokens in that bag. And those kind of block the area, but I think people can spend resources to unblock them or to move through them.
And I'm pretty sure Sunil is the hardest of the rating, and Cam is the easiest rating.
Yeah, we haven't played this with more than 4 people, I think, but we've played it with as little as 2. I don't know that the game really lasts that much longer, maybe with 5 or 6. I wouldn't say a lot of games I like to play these days can go up to that many, but I think this one definitely could fill that niche. I think if you had a big family, 5 or 6 people, everyone could have fun with this game.
It would be crazy if all 6 players.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of interaction. The characters have a lot of different interactions and do a lot of cool things together. And then on the board, which I had shown before, you can see here there's 6 different colors in the 6 different zones. Mm-hmm. And so that's what's made up of these things. So setup's really cool, and it'll be different every time. And it's really a clever thing, I think, to show kind of how to do setup and just having the different options on the board like that.
Setup isn't always different for players because there's things that have the first letter of the character's name, and that's where one of their items go. So for Cam, all of his characters go in the exact same places every time. But for Roy, he doesn't have multiple characters. Those are just his tokens, and he starts on a random space. So some things aren't always different, but I like the fact that it can be random.
All right, well, that is Amoebunnies by Ron Cauldron. Hope everyone checks this out on Kickstarter. We've certainly enjoyed it, and I'll be curious to see what else they add during the campaign, or I'm not really sure as far as that goes. I know that extra character we showed, Jin, was from Gen Con. Hopefully that one will be available too, so everybody can play with that. And I know there may be playtesting more characters. I'm not entirely sure. I think we'll probably have them on for a segment on the podcast as well, so we can talk directly to the designers there. And during the Kickstarter, I think I'm going to get a live play of this game up as well. So keep an eye out for the Board Boys podcast on YouTube and subscribe there, or follow us on Facebook or Instagram to determine when that live play might be. You can go to the www.theboardboys.com to check out all the links and stuff for that.
And you can join our Discord.
You can join the Discord.
I joined the Discord.
Until next time, we hope you like board games.
Yeah.